kids, for today we're going to talk about a DIY chop saw workstation, or in this case it's going to be a sliding compound miter saw station. This is my saw, DW708. Baby's been mine for quite a long time. I got a lot of miles on it and I love it. And I've always had it on this rigid stand, mobile stand. And this mobile stand's fantastic, works great. I want to get to a place where I'm not wheeling shit around excuse me. I want everything set up so I just go use it. I don't have to set it up anymore. All right, so that's the saw. Gonna have it below my cabinets there. And we'll talk a little bit about the framework. I do all my framework with steel because I've got my little Lincoln 110 welder there, which if you don't know how to weld, it doesn't matter. You can go buy a little Lincoln 110 wire welder and you'll learn in about 5 minutes. They're a lot of fun to have, and then they open up a lot of things that you can do. You can do the same frame with wood, whatever you want, but this is how I did it. Okay, so taking a closer look at how I secured each leg down to the cement, I use these Redhead concrete anchoring systems. That's a 1/2 inch bolt, and you drill a 1/2 inch hole into your cement, and then you can pound that bolt down into the cement, and when you tighten the bolt, it's got a little sleeve in there that secures that bolt in. Now I cut little pieces of angle iron for each leg going down, and I also lined up my bolts with the stud because that's where I'm going to secure my inner legs. So I did all this one leg at a time. I didn't put this framework together and then move it in place, and I'll explain why. Because cement is uneven, if I cut each of these outside legs the same length, that would have followed the unevenness of the cement. So what you need to do is each leg has to be the proper height so that the whole table's level. So I just took a level, ran it across from my angle this way, across that way, then I measured what the height was, and that's how I got the correct height for each leg. Got it here. That's got magnets on the inside, so that'll hold it onto both sides of the post. So now we're getting it level this way and level that way. So each one of these posts, that's why I didn't weld that angle iron on first. Now when I put the post up to the angle iron, I can adjust it both directions and then tack weld it down there, then give it a little better weld. So that's how I got each of my posts the right height, all level with each other. Then when I put my angle iron across the top of it, it all lined up nice. Okay. Then I put these cross braces on, just running across to each post. So now I've got a nice level, angle ironed, flat surface that I can put my MDF on. This is a big old 6-inch pipe for dust collection, in case you're wondering what that's all about. That's a blast gate, so that'll be coming up through the top of the work surface. And then my saw to be level with the top surface of my table over there. So if I just mounted this thing, if I just ran my wood all the way down the whole length of that table and then set this on top, well, obviously the work surface of this will be higher than the work surface of the table. So I've got to recess that down, and I've also got to make sure that I've got enough room to clear, so you can see how far that arm goes out, and then that rotates around. So this saw has to be positioned in that gap, level to the table with enough room that that sliding arm doesn't interfere with any of that pipe or anything on the wall. So there's a number of calculations you have to make to get everything just right. Decided to go with double layer 3/4 MDF. Couple issues if you're gonna do double layer. One is, if you take a close look here, you can see that gap right there. That's with them just sitting on top resting. Well, my first choice was to take this 1 5/8" wood screw, go up. If you take a look at underneath, I actually have holes drilled in my angle iron that makes up the framework of the underneath of this table. Well, if I just take that 1 5/8" and drive it up through both layers of MDF, it doesn't suck that gap out of there. The other choice I have is pilot drill all my holes through my angle iron so that there's a hole big enough so that this screw slides up through the first piece of wood and then grabs into the second. I'm going to try that first. I also thought that I would be able to get away with just attaching screws to the points where the frame makes contact. That wasn't enough, so I actually pilot drilled even more holes throughout the center. As you can see, the screws there to hold everything nice and tight together. Alright, so what I ended up doing is just welding a little table or stand area right off of my legs on my workbenches on both sides. Just made sure that it was at the right height so that after I install that 1/4" PVC on top of both sides of the tables there, it will be at the right height. Alright, so we're going to have two forms of dust collection. Will be the regular hose coming off the port on the saw, and then that will tie into that blast gate right there. And then another hose will come off that blast gate, go down through the table, and then I've got a tray that'll connect to that. And so anything that builds up back here, I'll sweep down into that, and my dust collector hopefully will suck it away. Yeah. Alright, so the saw's all in place. Now I've got my little PVC edges in place. Just some leftover PVC I had from a different project. This is part of that Craig track. That there. I'll get that secured tomorrow. And there'll be one on both ends. So really the way that sits is like that. Just like I stand up like that. That's how it stands. And then I've got this stop here that rides along the top here, and then that way I can cut pieces to the same length. Okay, so here's the, for lack of a better term, the sled that the fence is going to bolt to. It's just layers of MDF, and then this track will slide right on there like so. It'll get secured, and then it'll go up for my fence. On this side, same thing. This one's already secured. You can see the nuts coming off the back side there. Just used a 1/4" by 2" bolt. The 1/4" fits perfectly in that little T there so that you could secure it to your sled. And then I've got my little holes for my screws, so once I line the fence up properly, then I'll just screw it down to the top of the table. I'm sure it'll all work pretty nicely. And then I've got my Craig flip down stop that'll ride along the top and that little track there. In case you were wondering, this is called Craig heavy duty track, 48 inches long, extruded aluminum. It's got the T tracks going down the front and the top, so you can put just about any kind of configuration you want sliding down your fence, as long as it fits into those T's there. I want to say it was $39 for a 48-inch section, so that seems like a pretty good price to me. pretty fancy, pretty heavy duty, and should work nicely as a fence. All right, there you have it. Sliding compound miter workstation. When I get a little more time, I'll take that tape measure, which can tape right into this little slot here. And then you can see that little beveled indicator there, magnifier indicator that will line up so you can get your accurate length cuts. Something I'm not liking about this Kreg thing already is there's a little bit of play there, so it doesn't take much. I don't know if you can see that, but when I push on it, it's definitely moving around. I'll try tightening those nuts a little more and see if that makes a difference, but I do remember reading about that now. Yeah, look at it right there. So that's a lot of play for a fence stop. Anyways, we'll see if we can work with it or we'll return it.